Oh, thank you so much, Ernie, for taking the time today. I appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for taking time. I'm so happy to talk to you, and yeah, I appreciate you.
Yeah, of course. So I got to start it off. You are an acting legend, okay? I feel like you can do anything you want. So what was it about Angry Birds that made you want to be a part of it?
Well, to be an angry bird is very very cool. I mean, aside from the title in the series, just an angry bird period is it just sounds like fun to me. But yeah, I'd heard of obviously the game and then when I read the script of the episode that I'm doing, and I love Marlon. He kind of reminded me of so many dysfunctional people that I know, and maybe even myself. And I just wanted to, I just loved it. I wanted to be a part of it. Um, yeah, so that was, I wasn't reluctant in any way. I just was like, yeah, sign me up. I'm here. Um, and it was fun.
Well, I was gonna say, like, what was your reaction when you first saw Marlon? He's so cute. I think he's adorable.
Yeah, yeah. He kind of I loved his sort of wanting to be something, but he's not sure, and he's very this, but he's also that, and he's just a mix of so much. And I've having been in theater for over 60 years, it just reminded me of so many people that I know, and I just find he's very adorable, and yeah, and so yeah, I mean that was he wasn't really. Sometimes you do things and they seem kind of foreign, and I have to kind of figure out sort of why they do what they do. But I kind of got Marlon right off the top, and of course to be able to just slightly change the voice a bit to kind of create that thing was fun as well.
Yeah, did you get to like improvise a lot, or did you really stick to the script with him?
Well, it's kind of yeah. They were sort of open to making changes. So we, there was a script, and then we sort of did some, but mostly was with the script. But it was just where do we take the voice? How do we sort of create that? Where do we? I mean, I'm taking from this moment a certain thing, but then they're saying a little something a little different. How do we sort of blend that and do that to the point where it makes sense to me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, I kind of come in and I'm sort of clear about where I am, but then also I got to take in all these other things. And I'm like, well, okay. So, but that's the fun of, that's the work. So it's all good.
Yeah, so it sounds like it was a good collaboration.
Yeah. Yeah. I think so. At the end of the day, whether it's good or not is how it comes out. Because sometimes I've done that, like, when they say, trust me, we're going to go this way. But when I saw the episode, I think it was fun.
Yeah, it's so fun. And I want to talk to you about being a part of things that families can enjoy together, because I think that's so important. I have 11 and 13-year-old daughters, and so I love something we can watch together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. And that's what I wanted. I love this show because it's kind of well, I don't want to say, well, maybe how I feel. I'm just going to say what I think. It's kind of a throwback in a lot of ways to some of the shows that we used to do that, there's a kind of moral compass there. There's sort of stories that we can discuss. And I've been very fortunate, over the years. Quantum Leap was sort of that way, trying to get some sort of, theme that we can sort of get a different perspective on. And, but I love, to me, it's really about family. I have four sons, I have grandkids, I have great grandkids. And I do find a lot of things are very, very difficult to come together on and want to share,
Yeah.
without me saying, sit down, we're going to watch this. Somebody to want to watch it, and then actually have a discussion afterwards. And so I love this show for that reason. It's not one of those wacky things that as a parent, I'm kind of going, why am I? But, but yeah, no, that's one of the things I love about this show. So it's a little bit different, and for me, it sort of just keeps in the theme of the Ghostbusters universe of stuff that sort of bridges that generational gap, and
Yeah.
the grandparents can actually um, find something enjoyable about it. as well as the grandkids, and not feeling forced to have to sit through something.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Ghostbusters, you mentioned it. So, what was it like to come back? And like, did you ever expect to step back into that role?
I think when we did the first two, the second one took so long. I don't know how long, it was good 15 years or more. But they talked about it every year. There were announcements made and then I just reached a point where I didn't think it would ever happen. And then we did the one with, the ladies, Ghostbusters, and that was kind of fun. But I thought that was the end of it.
Mhm.
But then when Jason Reitman came with Afterlife, the one before the last one, and we, for the first time, showed up on set, Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, in their Ghostbuster jumpsuits, and Sigourney Weaver was there, and Annie Potts, and it was almost, it was a kind of an emotional experience. I mean, I didn't cry, but it was like, wow, this is, because it's been such a huge part of my life. What I mean? I'm reminded of Ghostbusters or Winston on a daily basis when I'm out in the street. Someone will somewhere will mention something. And so the fact that we actually were back doing it, and the new cast are just, wonderful. And so it was kind of a blessing. I wasn't sure if it would ever happen again. I mean, I'm a working actor, so it's like, okay, that's done. What's next? So I'm doing Angry Birds. Okay, let's forget all that stuff. But when we came back, that was really, really a joy, and I felt there was a commitment on the part of Jason. I think his dad Ivan, to try to at least connect with the original two. And I think these last couple of Ghostbuster films, they were able to do that. And so it was something that not only was I happy to be back with everyone, but I also felt good about the end product as well.
Yeah, they're so much fun. And like I said, I have an 11 and 13-year-old daughters. So that actually served, the new two served as an introduction. And then we went back and watched the
Right.
previous one. So what does it mean to you that, I mean, there's generations now kind of rediscovering Ghostbusters?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think it's great. Well, and also what I find is, when I travel, no matter where I go, if they find out I'm there, guys will show up with their Ghostbuster jumpsuits and their backpacks, and they'll drive up in their ectomobiles. They've taken their cars and turned it into, to me, that is, I have no words, because I'm like, wow, and but in other countries, I was in Argentina, and about 5 different countries, about 100 guys showed up with their jumpsuits on. So it's very, very, it's one of those things where you can never sort of plan for. I never thought, but here we are, and it's great. I don't, you can't buy coffee with it, but it's kind of nice. And I hear the stories, because if I do any of the conventions, where people come up, and then I hear, we do this stuff, in Angry Birds or whatever, that people see, and somehow they find meaning, or they find something in it that's more than what I thought. And so when I hear the stories, and at those things, people will come up, and then they'll tell, what it sort of meant, how it, affected their lives or their families. And that's very, very special. I'm really very, very thankful because I've done a lot of different kind of film.
Yeah.
It's nice to have one or two that people, find meaningful. It's great.
Yeah. It's a variety. Do you feel like you can tell, like, when a fan, because I've heard a lot of people say, oh, I can tell this fan this person's coming to me for this movie or this
Oh yeah.
project.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah. They. I think when people approach, they drop their guard, and it's like the full kid alert. They might be 60 years old, and it's like and then they will go into and also Ghostbusters was 40 years ago. So someone who's maybe 10 years old is 50 years old now, and so I have people come up and say, I've been watching you since I was a kid, and I'm like, and they're looking pretty old. So I'm like, okay, but it's great. It's great that it's been around, And I love some of the new stuff too. We're in a different time, we're in a different space, so to still be connected to this new generation, because a lot of the stuff I don't really understand, but to know that there's still a connection, and there's something that, like you were saying, that will refer us back to
Yeah.
that other time, that once upon a time, 1980,
Yeah. Oh man. I mean, you're making me feel old. I'm like I'm 40, but I'm like, did it come out when I was like a kid? I didn't watch it when I was like, I don't know. It's making me feel very old. You're making me feel old.
That's right. No, you are. What about me? I'm like, yeah, at 40, yeah, it's been 40,
Wow.
over 40 years now. And yeah, I've been very blessed to not just do the films like Ghostbusters, but the animation stuff. I don't do a lot, but over the years, I guess it's someone was mentioning that I've done quite a bit of animated work, and I've been blessed to do a little theater, TV, film, and still working. Very, very thankful.
Is there one you prefer over the other, or they all kind of bring different elements?
Well, when I decided I wanted to be an actor, I realized that I knew no one in the business, so I had no contacts. Whatever money you need to get started, I didn't have any of that. I had a teacher who told me that you're not good looking enough, so you're not going to get a job because you're good looking. You're not funny enough, so you're not going to get a job. And you're not that friendly, so nobody's going to do you a favor. So you better work really hard. So when you go in, you have something to offer and so I've always felt that I just wanted to be a part of the industry. And so you kind of have to prepare for, if it's animation, voiceover work, or if it's film, or if it's TV, or if it's theater, you've got to own those spaces. So you really need to be, I'm just thankful to be working. And I don't prefer one over the other. Some forms pay more money, and that's always a nice thing. I don't like having to pay to work.
Right.
We want you to do this show, but you bring your own wardrobe, and this is, but I love the creative community as well. I mean, one of the things on Angry Birds, they do have a sense of where they're going with the show, and they're excited. So it's nice to sort of connect to that excitement. That's very, very, very real and fun. Yeah, so it's always very special.
Is there a character that you've done that you think would be fun to maybe cameo into the Angry Birds world, that you think would be fun in there?
Yeah, no, I'd love to see Winston slip into the Angry Bird world, him and maybe Slimer, so it's like, they're on a little island. It'd be great to have Slimer or the Marshmallow Man pop up. But yeah, no, I remember doing Congo, and I always loved that character. Monroe Kelly, this safari guy. It'd be great to see him pop up someplace. But yeah, I'm always open to a new adventure. For me, that's what this is. It's what, for me, Angry Birds, all this stuff is, I get a chance to have a new adventure every time I work. They're not necessarily related. And I don't know any other profession I could have gone into that would have allowed me that, not just to step into it, but now I have to sort of really, really take my mind and imagine if I lived in the Angry Birds world, and if this universe existed, how do I play? And that's what I love about it.
Yeah, if you're trapped on an island with crabs and nothing else to do.
Crabs are my friends, my only friends.
That line when you're like, he knows what he did. It's so funny. It's so good. Oh man. Well, congratulations on everything, Ernie. And this show's great. We love to watch it as a family. And Ghostbusters, you've been a part of my family for a while. So thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you. That means so much to me. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day.
Right. Best of the girls.
Thank you so much. Thank you.